Very good. Good morning, even. Still just morning. Everyone having a good time? Yeah. Very good. What a wonderful year last year was. We helped change the future of our nation. And if it wasn't for UKIP and the rise of UKIP, primarily from 2012 onwards, there would never have been a referendum. In January 2013, we forced the then British Prime Minister, David Cameron, into offering a referendum that he never wanted to give. And if it wasn't for the pressure that UKIP applied in winning the European elections of 2014, garnering 4 million votes at the general election of 2015, and campaigning hard, delivering leaflets, writing letters to the press, holding street stalls. You were the manpower, you were the grassroots, you were the people that made our country great again. You were the people that secured Brexit and ensured that we can hand a country on to our children and our grandchildren that we can all be very proud of. And what kind of Brexit do we want to see? We want to see a Brexit which is clean, which is swift, a Brexit outside of the single market, a Brexit where we can control our own borders, a Brexit where we don't have to pay a membership fee into the European Union, a Brexit where we can secure our own laws, make our own laws at Westminster, and indeed sign our own free trade deals. But we also want to see a swift Brexit. We want to see the government on the front foot. We want to see us applying the pressure on the European Union. And to do that, we in UKIP believe that we should repeal the 1972 European Communities Act and repeal it now. And the one thing which has been proven by Brexit is that we have nothing to fear. Project Fear has failed. Look at the economy. It has not fallen off a cliff. Manufacturing is up. Unemployment is down. We are the fastest growing economy in the G7. But we can do better. We want to see a fair deal for working families. Because Brexit allows us, for the first time, to do away with VAT in many areas. We as a party are committed to removing VAT from domestic energy bills so people in working class communities do not have to choose between heating and eating. We will also campaign to remove VAT from female sanitary products and indeed hot takeaway food so we can really return to the days when things were cheap as chips. That was Patrick O'Flynn's joke, not mine. UKIP believes that everyone should pay their fair share. For too long, the rich have told poorer people how to live their lives and how and when to pay their taxes, without, in some cases, not paying their own way. To ensure that this happens, UKIP is committed to a clampdown on corporate tax avoidance. And the money that we will save, we will plough into the NHS, because the NHS is desperate for a cash injection. I could write next year's headlines about the NHS now. It's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? Next January and February, the NHS will be in crisis once again. It is buckling under a growing population and an ageing population, and something must be done. But I want to counter the Labour Party claims here. UKIP will keep the NHS free at the point of delivery and in public hands. We are committed to putting £3 billion extra every single year into the NHS, an extra £1.2 billion into social care. And unlike other parties, we can tell you exactly where that money will come from. We will slash a foreign aid budget, which is costing the British people £30 million every single day. A foreign aid budget that is due to rise in this Parliament from £12 billion a year to £15 billion a year. This is a scandal. It cannot be right that whilst we're sending foreign aid abroad, 1 million people can't leave hospital because there have been cuts to residential care. Now, I do not have a heart of stone. I believe we should give foreign aid where it is needed, to countries where there is an Ebola crisis or a humanitarian crisis. But we shouldn't be giving foreign aid to countries like Brazil and like China and like India with its own space programme, with its own aircraft carriers, which has more millionaires and billionaires than ourselves. I'm sorry, I want to see the foreign aid budget cut by £13 billion a year to pay for our NHS, because I believe, and UKIP believes, charity begins at home. And talking of homes, there is a housing crisis in the UK that has to be addressed. Governments of both colours are to blame for this. During the Thatcher era, there was the policy of right to buy. I think it was a very good policy. I think it made a lot of sense. The problem was that when people bought their council houses, that money then should have been reinvested into ensuring that more council houses were built. This did not happen. The Blair government did not build enough houses. They failed at every single juncture. And in some places, like Stoke-on-Trent, there has not been a council house built for nigh on 30 years. Therefore, under my leadership, UKIP will be committed to a new council housing programme. We will build, and in doing so, we will prioritise those with local community links, and most importantly, ensure that the 7,000 veterans that slept rough last night have a roof over their heads. One of the reasons we have a housing shortage is that immigration is too high. Last year alone, a city the size of Newcastle came to this country net, 335,000 people. And I want you to remember, this happened on Theresa May's watch as Home Secretary. Unfettered, uncontrolled immigration has been bad for working class communities because there has been a clear oversupply of labour. It has driven down wages. It has put working class people out of work. It's also bad for community cohesion because communities are changing too fast. The people clearly gave their verdict on uncontrolled immigration on June the 23rd. They want to see immigration cut and controlled, and we in UKIP are only too happy to comply. We want to see an Australian points-based system whereby if you've got the skills that this country needs, yes, please come here and work, but we will never, ever allow people to take out of the pot without putting in first. This also must include an aptitudes and attitudes test, because we want to ensure that would-be migrants not only add value to our economy, but they accept British values such as gender equality, freedom of speech, and the supremacy of British law. Many of you would have noticed that I've had a bit of a difficult week. This is twofold, actually. Firstly, I take the blame for the fact that I failed to check what was put up on my website in my name. That is my fault, and I apologise. But I do not apologise for what is a coordinated, cruel, and almost evil smear campaign that has been directed towards me. It is based on lies from sources who have not been named. It has been a tough week for me, but I will not allow them to break me, and I will not allow them to break UKIP. I was also asked by 2 journalists yesterday whether I still have the support of my party. Thank you. Thank you. I'm a bit overwhelmed. Thank you very much. Thank you. We all know why this has happened, and we all know why this has happened now. It is because of a by-election and the fact that we have the Labour Party on the run. That's what's going on here. And what of this Labour Party? It isn't the Labour Party of Keir Hardie or Ernie Bevan. No, it has been hijacked by a bunch of North London intellectuals who are more at home discussing the issues of the Islington dinner party. We have a Labour Party which is led by people who will not sing the national anthem, who say nice things about Hamas and the IRA, who want to give the Falklands back to Argentina, that sneer at our flag, that think Brexit was racist. They have nothing in common with the working class communities that Labour is supposed to represent. I am more confident than ever that UKIP will eventually replace the Labour Party as the voice of the patriotic working people.
Starting next Thursday.
Starting on February the 23rd. I've also been asked recently, in fact, I've been asked this question more than any other. What is the point of UKIP now we have Brexit? Well, I think Tony Blair's comments this morning prove why UKIP is more important than ever. We must ensure that shady establishment figures do not try to subvert the will of the people. We must hold the government's feet to the fire and ensure that Brexit means exit. You see, the thing with Theresa May is that she's always been very good at talking the talk, but she's always failed when it comes to walking the walk. Whether that is tackling radical Islam or whether that is getting the immigration numbers down to the tens of thousands when she was Home Secretary, she failed time and time again. And that's why we have to be there, because we have to be the government's backbone in these negotiations with the European Union. The government must know that if they buckle on the single market, we will be there. If they betray our fishermen, we will be there. If they try to wriggle out of abolishing freedom of movement, we will be there. And if you backslide on a membership fee, we will also be there. That is why an electorally strong and viable UKIP is more important now than ever before. The referendum, ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of the end. We, UKIP, members, my friends, my colleagues, brothers and sisters, we have got to see the job through. We want our country back and we're going to get it. I'll see you in Stoke. Thank you.